Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Brad, aka Weekly White, and welcome back to Buried. Now, we left off, we had this decision whether we go left into the lights and machinery, or right into darkness. So I'm going to go left. I don't really like the darkness in this, so you decided to head left into the lights. Seems smart to stay in the light. Left it is. As I head left, the lights ahead are like a beacon in the dark, luring me forward. I wonder if it's a good or bad thing that they left the lights on for me. I think to myself, I'm trying to be funny, but end up creeping myself out instead. As I hear the lights, I hear the hum of machinery grow louder, but it doesn't sound like any machinery I've ever heard before. Now, fully stepping into the light, I hear that the sound of machinery are coming from an area on the left side that is protected by a guardrail. Wisps of bright blue light dance on the walls as they leak from whatever is below. I also notice a postage sign that says danger, severe radiation poisoning. Huh. So, there's radiation. We're going to step back and move on. I don't think I should get near whatever is down there. I study the blue lights for a moment and then turn away. I have enough problems as it is. I don't think I need to add radiation poisoning to my list. I step away and take off down the tunnel again, very aware that it's probably not the smartest idea. As I start walking, I notice another structure coming into view ahead. Up ahead, sorry. Oh, hello. As I head further into the tunnel, I reach another platform. I'm looking and trying to process where I am now, when I suddenly hear the rapid footfalls of someone running towards me. They're sprinting this way from the dark side of the tunnel, as fast and fast. I can't see anything, but their footsteps echo towards me. Having not seen or heard anyone else here, I have no idea if they are dangerous or not. I realise I only have a few seconds before they'll be on top of me. Hide and attack, stout in the open. I figure I might as well greet them like a civilized human being. There would be a better chance of getting their answers that way. I step out into the light and they get closer and closer. And when they step into the glow of the platform, I can't believe my eyes. It's Dennis. Wait, what? Dennis, what the hell are you doing down here? I left you up at the login site. He stops running and stares at me, dumbfounded. Oh my god, Roger, it's you. I'm so glad to see you in this godforsaken... Wait, what? How did you get down here, I asked. And why are you down here? You didn't seem fit to move. He bends over and puts his hand on his knees, breathing heavily. I can see that the gash in his side is inflamed now. It's not safe up there, he says. As though that explains everything. I started running to get away and ended up here. Where? Get away from what? Why isn't it safe? Get away from what? Yeah. I want to know what it is. I was waiting for you when we last spoke, and then I heard something in the woods. At first I thought it was a car radio, some crackling static, but it was much louder, like some kind of demon. It got louder and louder and freaked me out. I just started running. I fell into some kind of sinkhole. The damn ground just fell out from under me. I ended up in this weird hallway that led me to this tunnel. He pauses as if evaluating whether what he's just saying is crazy or not. Well, you're here now, and honestly, I'm glad to see you, I say. What do you say we check out this platform and see if we can get some answers? There's light coming from the platform, but like the overhead lights, they are dim and emergency lights. Red emergency lights. I start to wonder if the explosion at the login site caused a power outage in this place, wherever this place is. The ringing noise that I originally thought was in my head is getting louder. I'm starting to think that it's some sort of alarm. When we come to the large open area ahead in the tunnel, it further resembles a subway station. As much as I try to ignore the reality, it's undeniable. We have stumbled into some sort of high-tech transportation system that is buried beneath the forest of Kentucky. It makes absolutely no sense and creates an entirely new sort of fear as to what the hell we have walked into. I notice that Dennis seems confident though. When we reach the large opening, we have to climb over the rails and up onto the platform. I have to help Dennis over the rails and then up the small utility ladder that is bolted into the opposite side of the travelway. When he reaches the large open area resembling a subway waiting area, he collapses on the floor and lets out a heavy breath. You know what Dennis says? Exasperated. This is ridiculous. I quit. I'm not going any further. On top of worrying about my crew and the madness of wherever we are, I'm not in the mood for Dennis to act like a baby. Okay. It's okay. Take it easy. You can do this. I think that's the right one. I'm not the one with the gash in my side, I think to myself, so I decided to cut him some slack. Damn, boss, I'm sorry, he says. It's okay, I say. I don't know how you're still on your feet, if I'm being honest. Stubbornness, he says with a weak laugh. You need a minute to rest, I ask, as warmly as I can muster. No. If I sit down to rest, I'm afraid I might not get back up. Let's keep going while I can still go. I reach down, help him to his feet, and then we go get ourselves up onto the platform. Sorry. Right in front of us, there's an entrance to a long hallway. Exiting the platform area. It's at this point that I realise those red emergency lights might be for someone else who is actually supposed to be here. Yell out. I'm going to yell out. If we shouldn't be here, then we should... Hello? Anyone here, I ask? My voice raised to almost a shout. There's not much of an echo. My voice falls flat like a rock from the sky. I'm almost glad that I don't get an answer. Hearing anything else in this hollow silence would have given me a heart attack. The emergency lights continue to flicker overhead, casting a sick sort of pinkish light on everything. My mind is racing with what sort of place this might be. It's obvious that it isn't meant to be a secret. It's meant to be a secret. And if it is supposed to be a secret, then was a power outage recent. And there was a power outage recently. Maybe everyone has been evacuated. And am I just reading that stupid or what? And if it is supposed to be a secret and there was a power outage recently, maybe everyone has been evacuated. Anyway, this thought has nothing to make me feel any better as I walk towards the platform exit. We step inside and it seems just as empty as every other place we've come through. Weakly illuminated by more overhead emergency lights. We're standing inside a hallway that looks surreal for a moment. Continue. The hallway reminds me of a hospital wing, but there's something not quite right about it. It's the first clean and tidy area I've seen since coming into the woods. It looks like it was recently in use, despite the dim emergency lights overhead. There are chairs against the walls, and the floors look well cleaned, as do the walls. The ringing noise is definitely coming from here, and a small flashing red light along the ceiling seems to flash along with it. That ringing noise is an alarm, I say, if only to confirm my own thought. But for what, Dennis asks, and then he asks a question that has been most on my mind since I found the little building in the woods. What the hell is this place? We exchange a look that speaks volumes. We reach the end of the hallway and hear a sound like a large metallic grinding. This is followed by a clicking noise and then the unmistakable noise of a generator kicking on. Ooh, this is getting intense. I like this so far though, this is really good. Without warning, the facility drops to life. The red glow of the emergency lights is suddenly replaced by bright white fluorescent ones. That mechanical hum is oddly comforting. Somehow the power being back on urges us on. It's then that I noticed the ringing noise has stopped. So it had been an alarm, but for what? Just a power failure? We head down the hallway, the electric hum of the lights sounding eerie overhead. Other than that, the place is dead quiet. The hall is about 100 feet long with two main doors. One door opens into a large room that looks like a conference room with a whiteboard and papers strewn about. Across the hallway, another door looks like a laboratory of some sort. Dennis slumps against the wall in defeat and lets out a scary sounding chuckle. Something funny, I ask, as a dark and brooding panic starts to grip me. Dennis just keeps chuckling as he slides down to the floor. I'm just going to sit here while you look around, he says. There's a look in his eye that reminds me far too much of a dead animal on the side of a road. Ooh. Enter the conference room first. Hopefully we can go back and check out the lab. If not, hey ho. A large table sits in the middle of the room, lined with a series of chairs. It looks like something straight out of a showroom. A well-used whiteboard hangs on the wall and there are scattered papers on the desk. Why have they left a huge chunk? I don't know. Look at the whiteboard on the wall first. A few things are scribbled on the whiteboard, mostly formulas and names. But there are some things that are easy to understand, things that make my blood go cold. Subject 6, cause of death, embolism or aneurysm, or both. Ideas for new delivery mode, spherical, liquid, question mark? Induced comatose state first, Terracore Co, possible plutonium supplier. What? Most of the papers are print out handouts, have codes and equations that go way over my head, but there are also handwritten notes that don't make me feel any better about our situation. I read through them and see scrawled notes that say things like, last experiment failed, overdose before transport, levels indicate cellular catabolism, bloody hell, more lead shielding, more lead shielding in export suits. Measurements make no sense. Let Barksdale know about possible Higgs field fix. Outside in the hallway I hear Dennis grunting. I head out of the room to see him still seated on the floor, but I don't get very far because as I exit, a man comes rushing around the corner with an automatic rifle in his hand. Wait! It's hard to look behind his rifle, but the man carrying it is young, with messy dark hair. His skin is so pale that I wonder if maybe he lives down here. He has the look of a guy who's been cooped up for a little too long. He doesn't seem like the kind of person I'd trust with a gun in a stressful situation. As he sees us in the doorway, he screams and brings the gun up. It's aimed directly at my head. Put hands up in the air, duh. I put my hands in the air, surprised at how natural it feels to go into this surrender state. Maybe it's because this feels like a dream. Maybe it's because I feel like I'll snap awake if the maniac pulls the trigger. I recognise you. You stomped around and set off the security mics in the entrance. What? I asked, unable to think of anything else to say. Who are you? The man asked. Did you do this? The man eyes us both, and I see something in his eyes that unsettles me. He is scared, but there's something else. We're just loggers. His eyes look distant for a minute, and then he says, bullshit. But for some reason, I'm pretty sure he knows I'm telling the truth. Someone knocked the power out, the man says. It's back on now, but if it was out long enough, well, we're in a heap of trouble. Was it you? Who sent you? Look, we don't know what you're talking about, Dennis says. Something happened out in the woods. Are you alone? Are there others with you? The arm man asks, thrusting the gun in my face. How the hell did we get in this situation, I think to myself. If only I had left that damned ringing noise alone, we wouldn't be here. I'm not really sure if he wants to give this, if we want to give this guy information yet. We don't know anything about him. Then again, he might have answers. I'm going to be honest. We have other crew members that we can't find, I say. You crew, he asks, seeming confused. If this man thinks that we're nuts, there's no telling what he might do. The fact that he looks a little crazy himself makes the situation even hairier. But how'd you get in here? The man asks. I point down towards the subway. We came in that way. The doors weren't locked. His expression calms a bit, but I'm still very aware of the gun that is levelled less than a foot away from my face. Please put the gun down. Yeah. You ask the man calmly to put his gun down. The only way I'm putting this rifle down is after I've blown your brains out, he says. The man says. With that, he uses the muzzle of the gun to flip my hard hat onto the floor. It's a childish move, a playground tactic at best, but it's sufficient to show me that he knows he's in control now. He then levels the rifle at Dennis, and I can only assume it's because his wounds make him appear to be the weaker one of us. The man takes a shaky step forward. Dennis looks back and forth, the barrel of the gun and me, his eyes pleading for help. Step between Dennis and the gun. You step between the gun and Dennis. Before I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, I step him out in front of Dennis. The barrel of the rifle is nearly touching my chest now. Both Dennis and the man seem a little confused at my action, and I do my best to swallow down my fear. I don't know what's going on here, I say, but we are here by mistake. Well, you have no business here, the man says, but now that the power is on, I think you might be too late anyway. For what, I ask. But he doesn't answer me. Instead, he steps forward and actually pushes me back with the end of his rifle. The man then repeats the question he asked before, one that makes no sense and honestly makes me think he might be a little crazy. Who sent you, he asks. You asked us for the Pentagon? I'm not quite sure how to take the question. Is this guy joking? I sort of want to press that one because it's funny, like, yeah, I'm the president. It's like, no, what the hell are you talking about? No, I say, we're just loggers. Something blew up and my friend got hurt. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Likely story, the man says, but I see a flickering of recognition in his face that makes me think he might believe me. Still, his grip on the gun is as tight as ever. The look on his face makes me think he'll shoot at any moment. You both just stand still, he says. Sooner or later someone will come along and I'll turn you over. He again thrusts the gun forward, and as if it has an invisible bayonet on it, There's no need for that, I tell him. I have no guarantee that he won't pull the trigger. Look, Dennis says, we don't want any trouble. We're just as confused as you are. Then, in a movement so fast that I'm just about to miss it, Dennis lunges forward. I have no idea how he is moving so fast. Just 30 seconds ago, I was worried about how close to death he looked. But now he's moving lightning fast. His left arm coming down on the barrel of the gun like a club. It's the commotion. The man does pull the trigger. The booming noise is deafening, and there is a moment where I think I've been hit. It takes the clanging noise of the round tearing into the floor at my feet to help me realise that I have not been shot. I look to the floor and see where the shot missed my right leg by less than 3 inches. I'm paralysed and shocked for a moment as Dennis and the man fight over possession of the rifle. There is a fire extinguisher on the wall. I could use it as a bludgeon, but I might not have enough time to grab it before Dennis is overpowered. No, just punch him. Dennis has the man pinned to the floor, but isn't strong enough to keep him down. As I fall to the floor to help, the barrel of the rifle swings right in front of me, a reminder of how close I had come to being shot. On my knees now, I deliver a hard, stiff punch to the man's face. I don't punch someone often, never really. I'm not usually the balling type. Still, it is apparently effective. The man's head snaps back hard and his gun on the grip loosens. Dennis grabs the gun and falls to the floor, clearly winded and in pain. Our attacker is immobilised and I can feel a shift in the situation. Yet, although he is basically harmless now, I feel the need to pummel him, a desire that builds with each second I look at him. No, stand up and step back. I ain't gonna keep punching him. You took it easy on the man. He's definitely out now, no threat. Or at least that's what I think. But he surprises me by mustering up one more swift kick in my direction, connecting with my forehead. Ooh. My eyelid swells to the size of a grape, almost immediately. It seems like this last attack is more to spite me than to defend himself. I stumble back and ready for myself for another round of blows, but he just slouches into the floor. He's done. Dennis instantly hands the rifle over to me, and I take it with shaking hands. I can't believe you stepped between me and that gun, Dennis says. He could have killed you. I was pretty sure he wouldn't, I say, although I had known no such thing. Still, thanks man, that was some heroic stuff. You would have done the same, right? Dennis says nothing. His eyes look to the floor. What do we do now, boss? Dennis asks. We've come this far and I want answers. I sense that Dennis does this too. I walk over and pick up my hard hat that fell on the floor after placing it on my head. I turn towards the man. We get answers from this guy. No answers, the man says. I just don't have any. Next time I won't just hit you, I say, plunging the rifle towards him. Now get up. He obeys quickly, but his legs are wobbly and he leans against the wall for support. I can feel my swollen eyelid from where he kicked me earlier. I just hope it doesn't get so bad that it affects my sight. Okay, let's move, I say, pointing the gun further down the hallway. We've come this far and I'm not going to let this guy stop us. We walk down the hallway until we come to the end. A single elevator waits for us. It's steel sliding doors larger than a normal elevator. Continue. That looks cool. Before I get into the elevator with this guy, I think it's wise to learn a bit more about him. I can tell it's making him uncomfortable for me to have the gun. What's your name, I ask. Marcus. And you work here? It's clear that he doesn't want to answer, but he gives us a little nod. Okay. We'll look for the rest of our crew. Any idea where they might be, I ask? No, he says curtly, not bothering to elaborate. There's going to be some useful info we can get out of this guy. I just need to know how to dig for it. I need a first aid kit for my friend, he says. Where might I find one? Down on the second floor, he says. But we can't go down there. What's on level 2? He looks at me like an idiot. You must be aware you're inside a classified government facility, he says. It makes sense, but I want to doubt it. Well, I'm sure our government would want you to help save my friend, so take me to the first aid kit. I can't, he says. You don't have clearance. Hell, I barely have clearance. Then seemingly to himself he mutters, I'll make this place run. And not even a thank you, just a bunch of restricted access rooms that I'm only allowed to go into with a friggin' chaperone. I interrupt his monologue. We're going to get that first aid kit. I could lose my job, he says. I wonder for a moment what sort of trouble I could get into for hitting a government employee. This makes me glad I took it easy on him. Then again, he had come at us with a rifle. It makes me think that things have gone terribly wrong in this place. And the explosion in the woods, or whatever the hell had happened, might be linked to it all. I need to convince him to take us to the second floor, but I'm sure if it would be more productive to threaten him or ask for sympathy. Ask for help. Look, I say, it hasn't been the best day. We're just trying to find out what's going on, to find our crew, to survive. I know that isn't a normal situation down here. It looks like all your protocols have been blown to hell. Can't you help us out? He looks at me sternly, weighing his options. Okay, he says. Thank you, I say. With an untrusting stare, Marcus walks to the elevator door, approaching a small keypad by the door. He punches in a numerical code on the keypad, and we can hear a slight mechanical hum behind the steel doors. A few seconds of angry glances and frightened sneers from Marcus. The elevator arrives. The steel doors slide open with a whisper, revealing the interior. Continue. It's exceptionally well lit and looks to be made of stainless steel. I half expect the thing to take off at the speed of light. There's another small keypad on the front right panel by the door with the options for 3 sub-level floors. Looks like this elevator doesn't go to the surface. So after we get a first aid kit for Dennis, how do we get out of here, I ask. We can't leave, Marcus says. Once the power came back on, the whole place was put on lockdown. What? I shout. Can't you override it? No, it's to prevent anything from getting out. I can't. Marcus looks as deflated as Dennis. We can't get out. We're stuck here. Dennis leans into the corner and almost falls onto the floor. The struggle for the rifle took a lot out of him. I can see that much in his face. Slowly we start to move down. The hum and the grind of the car's motors fill the space. So are we stuck here forever? Marcus scowls at me. I think it's a fair question. It doesn't seem unreasonable to assume he won't be able to get us out. We'll find someone with the access codes and they'll be begging for me to figure out how to lift the lockdown. These people think they're so brilliant, but some of them can barely turn their computers on without help. A top coder in my class at MIT, and I'm stuck living underground, helping idiots who don't even trust me with keys. What goes on in this place? I want to know. Marcus shakes his head. You may as well shoot me. I can't tell. Why not? It's beyond classified, and the things I know don't even cover the start of it. What does that mean, I asked, starting to get irritated. It means that even if I wanted to tell you what sort of work is done here, I don't know enough about how big is this place. There we go. Asked the question I could have asked. It's a government facility on the highest secrecy, Mark says, a research facility. It goes 4 stories underground, and quite frankly, it scares the piss out of me that you two got in here so easily. Why is that, I ask. This is a Black Ops graveyard, he replies. Even the CIA doesn't know this place exists. What knocks out the lights? Seems like some sort of power outage, Marcus says. That's all I know. There was an outage and then... Then what, Dennis asked weakly. Then things got weird. Things got bad. Bad how, I ask. The whole place seemed to shake when the lights went out. I was checking the monitors when it happened and everything went dead. It took no more than a minute or so before I started hearing the screams. People were being killed by... something. I tried getting the security cameras going again, but they only lasted for a bit on my backup system. But what I saw... What? I asked, feeling the sharp fear worm its way in my guts. Well, what I saw on the screens for that little bit of time made no sense. It made me get the gun from the emergency vault. I think whatever it is, it's still down here. Hold on, I say. There's an emergency vault with a rifle in the same room as the security cameras in this place? Marcus gives me a grin that looks nearly insane. There are guns locked away in every room in this place, just in case, you know. Just in case of what? As he opens his mouth to answer, the elevator comes to a stop and the door slide open. Marcus is out right away without a word. He makes his exit and heads directly for a glassed-in room that is filled with computer monitors and high-end equipment. Dennis and I file out behind him, trying to keep up. As we do, one very alarming question runs in my head. What the hell is this place? Well, no, sorry. What the hell kind of government facility keeps loaded guns and emergency vaults in every single room? End of chapter 2. Well, that's a perfect time to finish this episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you my friends in the next video. Peace!